Okay, so we want to go back. So we are in Derech HaShem, Shar Beis, that deals with Ashgacha, with Hashem, the way Hashem guides the world. And it's in this chapter that the Ramchal, in this gate, that the Ramchal placed this chapter that deals with the difference between the Jews and the non-Jews. Right? Why is it here? Why didn't he... The first chapter was dealing with the nature of creation. Why didn't he put it there? Right? Why did he put it there? So probably one of two things. Either A, because this wasn't the original plan. Right? He's telling us in this chapter that the original plan was for Adam. And all descendants of Adam were Israelites, technically, or Adamites. Adamites and Israelites would have been one thing. Right? It's just over the generations, they lost their high stature of the Adam before sin. And so it didn't happen. The only kind of person that was able to carry on the torch was Avraham Avinu and his descendants. Okay, so that's one possibility. And the possibility that he's talking about this thing that I want to go back to discuss it, is to what extent do actions of non-Jews versus actions of Jews today, right? Not just the way it was set up to begin with, the way they influence the Bria, the creation today. So let's just go back to one point and then go back to 2 points that he said. So I have this, right? So this is, let's see, hold on. Let me just make sure I got the lettering right. So the first part that we were talking about yesterday that I was confused about was when we say Chasidei Umas HaOlam, the pious, or the saints of the non-Jews, right? Who are we referring to? Right? Who are we referring to? Are we referring to the people that practice the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach? Or are we referring to something else? Something more of a demanding thing? Because, 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach is not so difficult. What's the big deal? So you didn't kill, you didn't serve idol worship, you didn't you didn't curse God. Like it's not so complicated. Okay, that's how I understood then. And let's see if that's different today. So let's go with that. Okay, so that was in Gate 2, Chapter 4. Ois Zayin, paragraph 7, right? He says like this. Now I have this paragraph over here in this handout that I'm put together. So that's the first paragraph. Derech HaShem, Chelak Sheni, right? Okay. So v'ulam le'olam haba. However, in the world to come, lo simtzena umos, there will be no other nations zulas Yisrael except for the Jewish nation. Okay, so in the future, there's only the Jewish nation. And also to the souls of the Chasidei Umas Ha'olam, to the saints of Umas Ha'olam, Yenosein Mitzius, they will be given existence bebechina noisefes, as something additional, v'nispachas, and secondary al Yisrael, on top of the Israel, atzmam, v'nitfeilim lehem, and they're like secondary to them. Kalavush hanitfel odem, as if a garment that is attached to a man. Ubebechina zu yagiel lehem asher yagiel min hatov, and that's in that state is what they will get from this good. Ve'ein bechukam sheyasigu yoser mizaklal, and they have no ability to receive more than this. Okay. So first of all, so what does it mean? What does it mean, Chasidei Umas HaOlam? So let's see. The Rambam speaks about this. So let's direct quote from the Rambam in the next paragraph. Kol HaMekabel Sheva Mitzvahs, anyone who accepts the 7 mitzvahs, v'nizhar la'asoyson, and is careful to fulfill them. Harei ze mechasidei Umas HaOlam. That person is from the saints of the Umas HaOlam. Okay? So that sounds like pretty clear, straightforward, black and white, right? That as long as you keep the 7 commandments of Noach from the non-Jews, you automatically become from the Chasidei Umas Olam. And he continues, V'yesh lo chelek lo'olam haba. And such a person has a portion in the world to come.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? But there is a disclaimer.
As the main word is careful. So you not just don't kill. You just don't kill because you're not killing because it's prohibited.
All right, let's see. Here he does it. There's a disclaimer. V'hu kabel oison, and this is only if he accepts them. V'yase oison, and he does them. Mipnei shetziva bohen hakadosh baruch hu b'Torah, because he was commanded to do this by God in the Torah. Okay. V'hidiyonu al yidei Moshe Rabbeinu, he let this be known to us through Moshe Rabbeinu, shebnei Noach, that sons of Noach from before this nitztavu behen were commanded in these 7 mitzvahs. Aval, however, im osan mipnei hachreya hadas, but if he decides to do this on his own because of hachreya hadas, meaning his own mental deliberations, okay, his own decisions, okay, logic brought him here. Ein ze ger toshev. This is not considered a resident alien or whatever, a resident ger, right? Meaning that's from the saints. Ve'eino mechasidei umas ha'olam, and he's not from the chasidei umas ha'olam. And now the next word is questionable. V'loi mechachamehem. But that's probably wrong. Most people seem to indicate that the ger says that I wrote over here. Ella mechachamehem. Rather, he is from their wise ones, right? So his wisdom brought him to the right opinion. So he is wise. He is wise. He decided that, listen, it might not be a good idea for people to kill, because if I kill A, so I got my way. But tomorrow the relative of A will come and kill me, and so probably it's not going to be so logical. So why don't we set it up that murder is not going to be a good thing, and then everybody will live a more peaceful society. That will make more sense. So that's chokhmah, that's wisdom, but it's not chasidus, but it's not saintliness, because you're not doing it because you want to be a better human being. You're doing it because this seems to be like a more logical way of life. And that doesn't elevate you as a human being. That just says, okay, you want to live a more comfortable lifestyle. That's nice. But it's, that's not good, right? So that's the Rambam, okay? So from this aspect, it seems, from here, it seems that, again, as long as a guy does 7 mitzvahs, 7 commandments that the Bnei Noach were commanded, that's it, Olam Haba, finished.
Right, but he has to do this.
Again, very low, right? He needs to know that it's commanded by God, and it's a low level Olam Haba, but he gets it. But let's see a little more. Let's see this Gemara in Avodah Zarah. Gemara in Avodah Zarah says like this: Hoyer Rabbi Meir Oimer. Rabbi Meir used to say, Minayin, how do you know she'afilu oivet kachovim, that even a non-Jew v'oisig b'Torah, and he learns Torah, shehu ki kohen gadol, that he is on the level of a kohen gadol, of a high priest. A non-Jew that learns Torah is on the level of a high priest.
Wide range.
What?
That's a very wide range.
Right? Loimer, Talmud Loimer, we'll learn this from a pasuk. What does the pasuk say? Because the pasuk says, these are the commandments, asher yaseh oisom ha'odam, on the back side. These are the commandments, asher yaseh oisom ha'odam, that a person does them, v'chai b'hem, and he lives through them. That's the pasuk. Now it says, Kahanim Levim v'Yisrael Nemar. It doesn't say that these are commandments that a Kohen does, or a Levi does, or Yisrael does. It says Ha'odam. Right? Ela Ha'odam. Holamadata. From here we learn Sha'afilu Oivik Achavim, that this includes even a non-Jew, v'oisig b'Torah, who studies Torah, Harehu k'Kohen Gadol. He is like a Kohen Gadol. Okay?
Okay.
So there's a lot to dissect over here in the whole drush and this and that. So
How is she on the level of Kohen Gadol?
so let's see this Torah Tamima. That's the next piece. So you see, there's two versions of this statement. In the Medrash Rabbah and the Midbar, this whole thing is the same, except it puts in the word Vinizgayer, and he converted. So this is saying that, hey, basically just saying, hey, you're a convert. Don't think that just because you're a convert, you're limited somehow by your possibilities, right? So according to the Bamidbar Rabbah, the Chiddush of this memory, basically Mary is saying, listen, if you're a convert, you become a complete Jew, and you can be as holy as the high priest. Is there anybody holier than the high priest? No, there is no holier than the high priest. You could be just as holy as the high priest. The Torah Tamim points out, why do we use the parable of the high priest? Why don't we say you're as holy as the king of Israel? Why don't we say you're as holy as the biggest rabbi in Israel? Why do we specifically use the high priest? Because there's another drasha. The drasha says that the pasuk says Yoker himipninim. The Torah is more precious than jewels. Pninim is jewels, but pninim means like pearls, right? Pearls are inside, pnim, right? But the Gemara darshans that the Torah is more precious than going into the lifnai v'lifnim. They're going into the innermost chamber, right? In other words, when a person's, right, what's the special thing about the Kohen Gadol? The special thing about Kohen Gadol is that he goes into the innermost sanctum of the sanctuary, right? So he touches the divine as close on the physical and the physical world. He comes as close as possible to the divine as anybody could possibly do it. And we're saying, yeah, that's cute and that's nice and that's amazing, Yom Kippur, holy, amazing stuff. But the Torah, that is like, it doesn't get any more inner sanctum than learning Torah. If you delve into the secrets of the Torah, you are on the inside and as much as humanly possible, right? So therefore, if somebody wants to get divine, so the way to do that is Torah, right? So according to the Bamidbar Rabbah, the Medrash is saying, so even a non-Jew, when he converts and he learns Torah, so then he has the same abilities as anybody else to reach the highest level of divineness. But that's Bamidbar Rabbah. The Gemara in all the other places doesn't have that word Vinizgayer. So it seems to imply that even a non-Jew in his state as a non-Jew, as long as he learns Torah, he can still connect with God on the innermost level. Now the Gemara has a question. What do you mean? We have another place where a non-Jew is not supposed to learn Torah. A non-Jew that learns Torah is Chayav Misa. So the Gemara says that it applies within the 7 commandments.
Meaning he learns.
Whatever he learns that's connected to the 7 commandments is okay. So again, I want to come back to this, but I think that there's a fundamental idea here. I'm not sure. Again, we're just thinking about this together.
This is all on what we learned about the limited capabilities.
I mean, we're discussing it now. Right because the first part, the Rambam said, listen, the Rambam seemed to be saying, just do the 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Noach. You don't kill, you don't steal, you don't whatever, and you're good, right? Mm-hmm. This is saying you're also sitting there meditating and figuring out what is godliness, how does God run the world, anything that gets connected, what is an Avodah Zarah, what's not Avodah Zarah, what's considered monotheism, what's not monotheism, all of these things that are connecting you to God, and you're now becoming like the Kohen Gadol, right? You're not just doing your regular routine stuff, and it just happens to be you're not killing, you're not stealing, you're not cursing God, you're not doing Avodah Zarah, right? Right? This seems to be more.
Right, of course.
Okay, and listen to this beautiful next phrase, which will tell you even more, I think. Right? This is what I was thinking yesterday. I was really basing myself off this, not yesterday, last week when we learned. This is why I thought this way. But listen to this line where it says underlined. Mm-hmm. Well, first I want to read to you from before. So you see where it says Poshut, and next to a letter Tes?
In Torah Tamima?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have it?
Yeah.
So first this explains just the logistics. It says Poshut the medayek that this is deducing mishum deloshan ha'adam, right? So sometimes very interesting. The Torah is very precise. So when it sometimes says ha'adam, the man, and sometimes it says adam, man. Okay, so you think what's the difference? The man. Does the hay really make a difference? Saying yes. Ha'adam musav al klal min adam. When it says ha'adam, it's talking about the entire human species. V'koilel kol mi she'ena behema, and that includes anyone who is not an animal. Okay, this I already told you. So basically, there is another member of Chazal which he doesn't bring. I thought he does bring it, but he doesn't bring it. It says Atem Kruim Adam. You are called Adam, right? So when it's talking about Jews, it says Atem Kruim Adam. You are called Adam, and the non-Jews are not called Adam. This is where the Ramchal gets his idea that there are two levels of Adam, right? There's a level of Adam on a higher level, and there's a level of Adam on the lower level. So that's the two ways, Adam and Ha-Adam. Adam is on a higher level, Ha-Adam is on the lower level. On the level of Ha-Adam, we're all the same. Jews, non-Jews, they're the same. On the level of Adam before the sin, the Jews are still connected to that, the non-Jews are not. Right? So good. So that's that. So let's continue. Ube'echad mekisvei, in the next paragraph I'm reading now. Ube'echad mekisvei harambam. In one of the writings of the Rambam, lehadayin Rav Chazdai Halevi, to some judge Rav Chazdai Halevi, matzati, I found biur agadazu. I found an explanation to this Gemara. B'zeh haloshen. Is underlined. Ein bedover sofek. There is no question at all. Shekol me, that anyone, shehiskin atzmoi, that kind of fixed himself and his soul, b'kishroin hamidos, in the balance of midos, v'hadeyos, and let's say call it ethics, be'emunas haboire, based on the faith of the Creator, Isbarach, mibnei olam haba. He will be from those that will be in olam haba. Okay, so this is the Rambam writing. He doesn't say, like he said in the halacha, that anybody who keeps the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. He's saying over here that anybody who corrected himself, who perfected himself and his soul in the way of the midos, right, and his character traits, and in his hashkafas, based on the belief into Creator, that's olam haba. Okay.
Okay. Not
just a little more.
He improved from observing 3 commands.
Right. V'lechein omru chachmei ha'emes, and so say the wisdom of the truth, the wise men of truth. Afilu nochri, even a non-Jew, v'oisik b'Torah, and he studies Torah. Harehu k'kohen gadol, he is like the kohen gadol. V'chol atzmai shel dover, because the essence of the thing, umagmas haTorah es Moshe, and the whole goal of the Torah of Moses, hu tikun hagufa nefesh, it's the improvement of the body and soul, leboirei Yisbarach, to his Creator. And the only way we praise Moshe Rabbeinu is for this one thing. What do we praise Moshe Rabbeinu about? And Moshe was a great humble man. So, what's the sum total of Torah? Yeah, tefillin is that's just not time. It's a medium. It's a vehicle. The vehicle to what? A vehicle to change yourself. How do you change yourself? The way to change yourself is fix your body and soul for the sake of God. Fix your body and soul, l'boirei Yisbarach. Okay? So anybody who does that, whether Jew or non-Jew, he's saying no question, he gets into olam haba. Again, how does this Rambam, this is the Rambam speaking, how does this Rambam jive with this Rambam that says anybody who keeps the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach is good to go? How do you connect. Over here, he's talking about, again, this is the meaning, this is the way he understands any non-Jew who learns Torah is like Kohen Gadol. Because what does it mean to learn Torah? Learning Torah means figuring out how to perfect yourself. So any non-Jew who's learning Torah, meaning he's figuring out how God wants him to be perfected, and he follows through, he's going to get into Olam Haba. Right? Over here, this guy is just keeping 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Noach. So, again, so I think, I'm not sure, but what seems to me is that this is why the Rambam, I think, has to point out that 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Noach only work if a guy knows that he's doing them because God commanded them, not just because they're nice things to do. It's because, technically speaking, it really, right, the Gemara says in Makos, right, HaShem commanded us 613 mitzvahs, right? Then came David the Melech and he narrowed down to 12. I don't remember who's who. Somebody narrowed down to 12, somebody narrowed down to 7, some then 6, 4, 3, and 1. And then the last one is Tzadik b'emunaso yichya. As long as you believe in God, that's it. Belief in God is everything. Why is belief in God everything? That's the beginning of everything, but it's not everything, right? But the answer is really, if a person is honest, right? If a person is self-honest, if a person comes to realization, there is a God in the world, and this God wants me to perfect myself. That's it. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Everything else, you're already in the parsha. As soon as you believe in God and you're in the business of self-perfection, you may not get there because you're not going to get there. You can give us 1,000 lifetimes. Right. We're still not going to get there. The only question really that we have to do, the only thing that we need to do is to be in the parsha of self-perfection. We have to try to be better. So anybody who accepts, hey, there is an infinite creator and I got to do something to become more like him, that's it. You're in the parsha of self-perfection. Jew or non-Jew, you're on your way to Olam Haba. Right? So that's the key. So that's oisik b'Torah. As soon as you have that faith in God, you're already in that parsha of, you may fail, you may rise, you may up and down, but as long as you are in the process.
So you will eventually, not automatically, but eventually reach the level of making sure you observe all 7, and you could possibly go even beyond and.
Right, I'm saying observing, to me, again, maybe I'm wrong, but to me observing 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Noach is not a feat. They're very natural things. So
why is it, I'm trying to equate
but the point of the 7 mitzvahs and the 613, the Rambam is saying, is really one and the same. The point is self-perfection, right? And where does it all begin? It begins with this. Is there God in the world? Yes. Why did he create the world? The whole, what Ramchal told us in the first part. As soon as I know that, the rest follows. The rest follows. He wants me to become better. He wants me to perfect himself. He wants me to improve myself. So if he wants me to improve myself, that's what I'm doing. Right? So whether I'm doing it at, if I went from 0 to 60 and then to 200 and whatever it is, supersonic speed, or I'm doing it at 5 miles an hour at my own pace, but I'm already on that track. As opposed to somebody who doesn't have faith, so he's not on that track. He could have great theories in sociology, he can have amazing things, but he's nowhere in the Chassidei Umas Ha'olam or Chassidei Klal, so he's nowhere, right? He's just, right? Yeah, that's what I think. Okay, so that's the first part. Next part, that's the first part, right? The next part is what he said. Now, this is Ramchal. Where are we? I already lost place. Hold on. Right, this is the next part. The next part is in letter 9, same chapter, letter 9. The Ramchal says, this is on page 3 of this handout. The Ramchal says, V'ulam b'maseim shel Yisrael, that Hashem made it so that the actions of the Israel is what the universe kind of was made dependent upon the actions of Israel. Tikkun kol habriya ve'iluya, the fixing of the entire creation and its elevation, And the Kamashikosafti, like I've written above, that Hashem made His guidance, His direction of the world, subjugated to His action, to their actions, to the actions of Jews. Lahayar lashpia, whether He's going to bring light into the world or He's going to bring influence, or to hide, to distance Himself. Alpimasehim, everything according to their deeds. Achmaseh ha'umois, but the actions of the non-Jews, lo yosifu, they do not contribute, v'lo yigru, and do not take away, b'metzius habriya, in the state of the creation, u'begiluyov, His Baruch Shmoy, and in His revealing Himself, or be'estero, and His hiding Himself. They don't have an effect. Non-Jews, Ramchal seems to be saying, have no effect on God's revelation or disrevelation. It's only for themselves. They can bring, through their actions, they can bring to benefit for themselves, or hefsed, in beguf, in benefesh, or they contribute koyach besar shalahem, or they weaken him. Right? That's what he's saying over here, right? So we had a hard time also figuring this out. Why wouldn't, so especially now that we understand that the non-Jews have access to Olam Haba. Right? They have the coin, they could be on the level of a coin gadol, he seems to be saying. So how is it possible, so first of all we have to understand that it can't, meaning, so in theory it sounds like, hey, though in the entire world is ancient Greece, right, there's complete immorality, right? But in the midst of the whole world, there's complete immorality. In the middle of this immoral world, there is isolated Bnei Brak of perfected individuals.
Perfect Greek people.
What?
Perfect Greek people.
No, not perfectly Greek people. I'm talking about
like
Bnei Brak. The Greek world is total,
Bnei Brak,
new male Olympics, and all the perversions that come with that. And in the middle of it, there's Bnei Brak, perfected society of perfect utopia, and right? So the Ramchal is saying, who cares? You look at the world, you see 1 billion people of total immorality, you see 100,000 people of perfection. It's fine. The immorality has no effect on the state of creation. It's the Bnei Brak that makes everything, right?
Okay.
And that's what he seems to be saying. Now, that's in theory. Why is it in theory? Because such a thing cannot exist. Right? In theory, it sounds good, but in practice, it cannot be. It cannot be that the whole world is complete degradation and the Jews are complete perfection. Because we are one unit. So we constantly are influencing each other. It's not possible. Right, so this is weird, but still, we want to understand why is it that the non-Jews seemingly have no direct influence on the state of the universe, only on the state of their local place, or their minister, or the ministering angel. Okay, that was the question that we had last time, and also the question was, if they don't have any such effect, so why do we have the concept of being Or L'Goyim? Why do we have to go out there and seem to, right, everything we do has to be to influence the non-Jews to become better, right? Meaning we have to perfect ourselves first, and then we have to go ahead and perfect others. Who cares? If their actions are meaningless, so why do we have to perfect others? That was our question. So first of all, so we wanted to know, who says there is such a thing that we have to go perfect? We don't care about them. Let them live their immoral lives, let them perish in there. Who cares? Why do we have an obligation to go out and make the world a better place? Do we? How do we know? Do you know? How do we know that we talk about it, yes, we assume it to be so, but where do we know this from? Where do we know that we have such an obligation? Okay, so let's see some sources so first of all, I don't know, the order here, I'm not sure, I didn't work through the order, but the first thing that popped into this Sephorna. Right, so he's explaining the pasuk. The pasuk really says, by Matan Torah, when Hashem gave the Torah to the Jewish people, what does he say? He says, "V'amtem tiyu li," and you will be from me, mamleches koyanim, right, a kingdom of priests. Right, he's talking to the entire Jewish nation. He's telling them, you will be for me a kingdom of priests. What does that mean? What does it mean, a kingdom of priests?
Elevated above the common
Right,
folk.
but so it could be, there are different ways to understand. Okay, let's see what this form says. So, "B'zeh tiyu segula mikulam," and so you will be my precious kind of treasure from all of the nations, from all of the nations. Kitiyu mamleches koyanim, because you will be a kingdom of priests, lehavin, to understand, ulehoirois, and to teach, lekol hamin ha'anoishi, to the entire human race, L'kroi kulon b'shem Hashem, that they should all call out in the name of God, ulavdoi shchem echod, and to serve Him with the one, shoulder to shoulder. Okay, and that will be and it continues that will be the way Jews are supposed to be in the future. Okay, so clearly, right, pretty clear that at the moment that God chose us as the chosen people, He tells us that, I'm choosing you for this mission. What's going to be your mission? What's going to be your mission? Your mission to be a kingdom of priests. What does that mean to be a kingdom of priests? To first understand and then to teach. Who to teach? The entire human race. Right? So who cares? Why should we teach them if their actions are meaningless anyways?
What's the point?
What's the point? Okay, again, so that's a foreknown that pasuk. But let's see, here's a pasuk in Isaiah. This is where the whole concept comes from. Pasuk says, "Ani Hashem keresicha b'tzedek." I am Hashem. I called you in righteousness. V'achazeg b'yadech, and I will support your hand. V'etzercha, and I have formed you. V'etencha, and lebris, and I appointed you for this covenant. For the covenant people. Leor goyim, to be a light of nations. Okay, to be a light of nations. Le'or goyim, to be a light of nations. Okay, now it happens to be Rashi translates this pasuk differently, so we'll put it on the side. Rashi does not understand that le'or goyim. Rashi goyim means shvatim, but I don't want to get. But so Rashi doesn't understand this pasuk the way standard we take it, to be a light unto the nations. Okay. And the same idea is repeated in the next pasuk. Again, you could read it yourself. I will also make you a light of nations, that my salvation may reach the ends of earth. Right? Okay. Next, let's see what else is here. Regarding the Beis Hamikdash, we always say, from month to month, and from week to week, Yavoi kol basar, all flesh shall come, to come and worship me, says the Lord. Right? So again, the purpose of the temple is to be a place of worship for all flesh. For everybody. Exactly. Now this pasuk, I think, is maybe the key to this whole thing. Pasuk in Hazino says, kind of in the beginning part, says, "Ba'anchel el yoin goyim," when Hashem distributed the nations, inherited the nation, meaning divided the world amongst the nations. Ba'afridoi b'nei Adam, when He separated the sons of man, meaning into different nations. Yatsev gvulois amim, He kind of established the boundaries of nations, lemispar b'nei Yisrael, to the numbers of the sons of Israel.
To the number, okay.
Right, so in other words, right, so the 70 nations, they correspond to the 70 souls of Yaakov's family. Right, so the fact that the reason why Hashem divided the world specifically into the 70 nations is because that's the 70 souls of that core of the Bnei Yisrael. Before they developed into a nation, they were made into a core of 70. So the 70 of Israel somehow correspond to the 70 of nations. Okay, but who cares? It's nice, it's interesting, but why did it happen that way? What do we care that the 70 souls of Israel, as they go down to Egypt, is perfectly corresponding to the 70 nations of the world. Okay, so I think that's the key to really. I'm not sure how to say it. I mean, okay. So this pasuk, maybe it shouldn't. I don't know if it's. I'm just going to read one more, and then skipping to the next source over here, Machzor Ashkenaz l'Rosh Hashanah. Right, everybody knows this one. Right, we say, what do we pray for in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur too? But uvechein tein tachdecha Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem give your awe al kol maasech, on all your creations, ve'emascho al kol ma'aseh barasa, and your fear upon everything that you created. V'yirucha kol ha'maasim, and all your creations will fear you. V'yishtachavu lefanecha kol habruim, and all of your creations will worship you. Ve'yeyosu kulam aguda achas, and they will all make one aguda, one unit. La'asais ritzayncha b'leiv sholem, to do your will with full heart. Right, so that's the culmination of the whole idea, is that the entire world with all its creations will make one unit in the service of God. So again, clearly the non-Jews have a part in this play, right? They didn't get. It's not a character that was killed out and no longer participates. The character continues to play a part in this play.
And we know position is true.
What time is it? Like midnight yet? So let's just see one more. I'm going to skip this last piece, which is very interesting. It's a little lengthy, so now I'm just going to skip about it. Right? This is from Pirkei Avos. This is Tosfos Yom Tov, Rabbi Yom Tov Heller. Right? You have it? So this is on the
page 5 and top.
Page 5, yeah. Page 5. So, what does the Mishnah say? Turkey obviously got it right here, right? This is chapter 3, Mishnah 14. Chapter 3, Mishnah 14. Yeah, no, I don't have that. It's not what I got here. I have it as chapter 3, Mishnah 18. Okay? So, it says like this. Rabbi Akiva used to say, Hu ha'yomer, Chaviv Adam, beloved is man, Shenivra B'Tzelem, because he was created in the image. Okay, Chiba Yiseiron Adasloi, that he was created in the image. Nemar B'Tzelem Elokim Asar Adam. Then he says, Chaviv in Israel, beloved are Israel, Shenikru Bonim Lamokum, that are called sons to the place, meaning sons of Hashem. Chiba Yiseiron Adaslahem, they was known to them this love. Shenikru Bonim Lamokum, that they were called by God sons. Okay. Next, Chaviv in Israel, beloved is Israel. That they got a precious utensil. Then they whatever. So okay, so 3 levels. First sentence, beloved is man, because he was created in the image. Then beloved is Israel, because they're sons, and beloved is Israel because they got the Torah. Okay? So, but the first one, beloved is man, is that talking about also about Jews, or is that talking about non-Jews as well?
Okay.
Right. So that's a question. That's a question of commentary. So Rashi. So this is Tosfos Yom Tov saying Pirush Rashi. Rashi explains Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tzelem. Beloved is the man that was created in the image. So what does that mean first? First means Lechein Mutal Lov Lasas Ritzayin Koinai. Therefore, it is his responsibility to do the will of his maker. Okay? Good. And he continues, Ubechol Adam Omer Rabbi Akiva. Regarding all man, Rabbi Akiva is talking about. Okay? Ukemoishehu Haraya. And this is, And that's why he brings as the pasuk Shehu Nemer Livnei Noach, a pasuk that was created that was talking about all of sons of Noach, Lo Livnei Yisrael Levadam. This is not a pasuk that's talking about only Jews. V'rotz Rabbi Akiva lezakois es kol odom. Rabbi Akiva wants to purify, to improve all mankind. Af lebnei Noach, also bnei Noach. Okay, so Rashi, that's Rashi. Rashi's saying that Rabbi Akiva is talking to everybody. Hey guys, the whole world, please remember, you are all created in the image. Okay, and what does that mean? Rashi's saying. Rashi's saying, first of all, you have to know what is it. Rabbi Akiva is saying, you got to do God's will. Okay, right? And who has to do God's will? Everybody. Everybody. Okay, so that's Rashi's pshat, but not everybody agrees with the pshat. I don't want to get sidetracked, but other people say that's not the pshat. Okay, that he's not talking about. Okay, but continues the Tosfos saying, "Umaymer Molei Omar Rambam." And this is not such a big chiddush. He's saying this is a straightforward idea from the Rambam. Milchas Malachim. This is the part that we read. V'zelu shoynu tziva Moshe Rabbeinu l'sholem pia gevura. That Moshe Rabbeinu commanded from the mouth of God, lokuf es kol boye ha'olam, to turn all of the those that come into the world, lekabel mitzvahs shenitzava bnei Noach, to accept all of the mitzvahs that were commanded bnei Noach. V'chol mishul yikabel, and anybody who does not accept the mitzvahs of bnei Noach, Yehareg, is punishable by death. But somebody who does accept it, Nikro Gertush, he's considered to be a resident. Right? So a non-Jew that accepts the mitzvahs of Bnei Noach, he's welcome to live within the borders of Israel. Okay? And then he continues, anybody who accepts the 7 mitzvahs and he's careful about keeping them, he is from the saints of the Umas Ha'olam. And he says the whole, I'm going to skip because we read this already. Now all the way to number 2. Actually, I'm going to skip all the way to number 3. Where it says but I'm in the Hebrew. You could read the English, but I'm reading the Hebrew. But it should be the same thing, right? But in my eyes, this way is a clear way. Rabbi Akiva is coming to straighten all of those that come into the world. Just like we were commanded from Moshe Rabbeinu, like the Rambam writes. If we have to force them sometimes by the punishment of death if they don't accept these commandments, so shouldn't we at least try to first persuade them to do this? Right?
That sounds like a nice guy.
Right? Right? If we have to force them to keep the 7 commandments, shouldn't we first try to persuade them to keep it for the real reasons, to do the will of God, their creator? Okay, he's creating the Tova. V'shehem chavivim, and Rabbi Akiva is telling them, not only that, you are beloved, shenivru b'tzelem, because you guys were created in the image, lehoires nosan b'libam, to understand Hashem gave in your hearts, kizois toiras ha'odam, because this is the Torah of man. What does it mean, Torah of man? Lasois chukei elokim, to do the laws of God. Umishpotov, and his judgments, mitzad, Asher hu tziva, Kediver Rambam, the whole shechiva lebroi b'tzalma, because Hashem beloved every human to create them in His image. L'chein mutalov lasser tzon koinu k'pirush Rashi, and so he has to do the will of Hashem, His creator, like Rashi says. Okay, so I'm not sure how much I want to do. This is beautiful. It says over here, every line here is very interesting. Every line here is very interesting. Okay, I'm not sure how. Okay, let's just conclude. We'll conclude with this. So, I don't know. I'm not sure how to say it properly. But basically, right? It should be clear, right? At this point, it should be pretty clear that every person in the universe plays a role, right? I mean, it really would be unwise to say otherwise. Even every leaf on the tree plays a role. Nothing is created for nothing, right? And our job is to elevate, like let's say we drink a cup of coffee and we make a bracha. Well, isn't that because we are elevating this thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything we're doing in the world is to make it more spiritual, right? So therefore, the nations of the world is our job to elevate them as well. Just like any, the entire world, every component of the world, it is our job to elevate. That's what it means. Mamleches Kohanim. We are a kingdom of priests. We are a kingdom of priests. So I don't know how to say it. So basically, so I don't know. So is there a contradiction? Is there a contradiction between this that non-Jews do not have the ability to influence the state of the entire creation, and the fact that but they are influencing their local areas? Is there a contradiction? I'm not sure now. So the fact is that they are not on the state, according to the Ramchal and according to others. They may not be, meaning do they have Olam Haba? Yes, they can have Olam Haba. I'm not clear to this idea that, meaning, when they get Olam Haba, did they get it? Meaning, in essence, if we understand what a Jew is, if we understand this idea that Yisrael v'Arayis v'Kudshabrichu is Chad, that the collective consciousness of the Jewish nation really is complete in unison with the Creator Himself, right? So then, nothing really, I don't know how to say, but everything, the entire universe is really Israel. The entire creation, like we say, right? Like we say, Larizal says that all of creation is like a big man, and the man is like a small universe. The universe is a big man, man is like a small universe, right? So really, Klal Yisrael, in its totality, is really the entire creation. So all the non-Jews, so to speak, are within the whole Adam. If non-Jews, if the entire Israel, the entire nation of Israel, from the beginning to the end, and all of its participants, inherited Adam, then all of the other nations are included in Israel. So therefore, I'm saying that it's not that these Chassidim are getting Olam Haba on their own merits, so to
Simply
speak.
because
They're part of
onto,
they're part of us. They're part of us, and that's the whole idea where Hashem divided the 70 nations amongst the 70 souls of Klal Yisrael, because we're really one unit.
we are okay.
We, the Jewish nation, and the universe, and all of its parts, which is the 70 nations, we really are that one unit. And so, of course, we are the kind of the drivers of that unit, but it's all really one unit. Okay, let's stop on that note.